Alright, I'm the pop culture alcoholic and I'm suffering from a media hangover. Do you know what superhero I love? The Incredible Hulk.
And Hulk. Smash.
The Hulk, as far as I'm concerned, is potentially the most kick-ass superhero I can think of, and also has the potential for great character development with Bruce Banner and his constant internal struggle with the uncontrollable force raging inside him. He was certainly the most interesting character in the Avengers movie, and I've wanted to see more and more of him since then. And unfortunately that meant that I came across the movie's two predecessors, and I felt the need to review both of them. So let's kick off this series of reviews with the review of the 2003 Hulk movie known as, well, Hulk. Some classic Marvel opening titles, horrible CGI, stupid Comic Sans titles, and... oh, Danny Elfman on music! Let joy reign supreme! Ooh, and doesn't that sound a little familiar? Damn right, Mr. Elfman, the ever-original man, has pretty much just redone the Spider-Man theme from the movie he worked on 1 year earlier. Just because you take out the drum beat doesn't make it a different song, Elfman. So in this mess of credits, we see scientist David Banner studying the immune system and dissecting a starfish. He's trying to develop a superior immune system in humans and advanced healing abilities. The problem is Banner can't use human subjects on his trials, so decides to inject the stuff into himself. This goes tits up when he finds out his wife is pregnant, and it looks like he passed on a little more than his fantastic mustache potential in those genes. By the way, look at this editing. Isn't it horrible? You may be thinking, sure, it's the opening titles, they can edit this way if they want. Well, the opening titles actually finished about 3 minutes ago. That's right, boys and girls, this is how the editing's going to work for the entire movie. And trust me, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. Anyway, one day Banner's experiments are interrupted and he flies into a rage. He sets off a gamma explosion in the testing site and then heads home to his wife and kid. We see him drag his wife off into another room and we hear them fighting, but then we suddenly cut to adult Bruce Banner 30 years later, played, oddly enough, by Eric Bana. He seems to have grown up into the 40-year-old virgin, and has no memory of what happened to his parents, believing they died when he was a little kid.
I don't understand why you don't want to find out about them.
They're dead. They died before I could remember anything, and why do you always come back to this?
Because the audience need exposition. And by the way, here's the obvious love interest. I can't remember her name, but my money's on something alliterative.
Betty, hey.
Oh, that's right, Betty Ross. Well, that's not very alliterative, is it? I guess I must have jumped the gun on that one. Oh, wait. It's because when they get together, they would be Bruce and Betty Banner. Well played, Stanley, well played. Anyway, turns out Bruce is a scientist too, and would you believe, he's working on the exact same project his father was. I hope you'll believe it, because I'm certainly having a hard time doing so. Unfortunately, all they've succeeded in so far is exploding frogs.
You want to go to the review board on Monday and tell them we've developed a brand new method for exploding frogs?
Yeah. I think maybe there's a market for it. And what if there's a plague?
What have you had, Betty? Like one beer?
Yeah, because with her acting, I really took her to be being serious with that line. Anyway, suddenly Mr. Aryan Race Jerkhole here comes into Banner's lab.
Alright, I'll cut to the chase. I've been hearing interesting things about what you guys are doing here. Your little molecular machines have some incredible implications. How'd you like to come work for Atheon? Get paid 10 times as much as you are now. And own a piece of the patents. You just have to say the word.
2 rules. The door.
Yeah! How dare you come in here offering us money with which we might actually be able to achieve our aims and therefore better humanity. We've never had any problems here, and the idea that an accident could befall one of our scientists is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, maybe we're having a few problems. Yep, after half an hour of really boring character development, I'm sparing you because I'm nice that way. Bruce Banner gets zapped with radiation, which makes the camera go all 1980s Doctor Who on us. But he somehow survives and is apparently fit as a fiddle. Seems a blast of radiation did him a world of good. But that night he starts having a pretty creepy dream. By the way, on top of the bad acting, another thing to get used to in this film is the Hulk thinking about moss and animals. So then what happened? Did he become the Hulk? Did he go on a rampage? Did he just fix himself back up to the machine afterwards? Who knows? Who the hell even cares? Anyway, the lab's new janitor, who seems to keep dogs for some reason, has turned up at Bruce's bedside, and he's a little too creepy for comfort.
Please. Let me. You're not well. You've had a terrible accident. You must know. You may not want to believe it, but I can see it in your eyes. So much like your mother's. Of course, you're my flesh and blood. But then you're something else, too, aren't you? My physical son. But the child of my mind, too.
But Bruce tells his dad to shove off.
We're gonna have to watch that temper of yours.
Because it's clearly not doing, you know, what it's supposed to do. Anyway, Betty is called in to meet her dad, Colonel Thunderbolt, every version of me is an arsehole, Ross.
Look, I'm gonna get right to it. This Crimsbury you work with. You know who he really is? How much do you actually know about him?
You know, I think I was hoping that maybe this time you just honestly wanted to see me again.
You got this all wrong, Betty.
Do I?
Yes. I do want to see you.
I really wish that I could believe you.
But your acting is worse than mine. Though obviously not, because you have to go pretty far to beat this woman's acting in terms of poor quality. Anyway, back at the lab, Brucey isn't feeling too good at the moment. In fact, I dare say he's looking a little green. Thank you, you're all weak. And here we go, 40 minutes in, we get our first look at the Hulk, and he looks like a total dumbass. Look at those eyes, they're so far apart I could park a car on his brow. I suppose at a stretch you could call it childlike, reflecting some kind of misunderstood innocence, but really it just makes him look like he can't string two words together. Though to be fair, the Hulk has never been much of a conversationalist in other movies.
Never, ever. Your life!
And what could make our first appearance by our kick-ass hero really awesome? Well, he can go straight to moping like a massive Jessie. Oh, how entertaining. So after smashing the place up a bit and staring at his dad for 2 seconds, the Hulk decides to go really crazy by going home and straight to bed. This guy's about as wild as a 15-year-old failing to get into any nightclubs. And I'm guessing the Hulk was very careful about squeezing through the doors of the house. The next morning, Betty has come to see him.
There was some sort of explosion. They wouldn't let us into the building. What happened to you last night?
I had the most vivid dream. It was like being born. Coming up for air. Light hitting my face, screaming. My heartbeat. Like boom. Boom.
But Colonel Ross shows up and he knows that Banner was at the lab last night.
You know who I am, right, Banner?
You're Betty's father. You're a high-ranking general.
Let's cut the crap. I'm the guy who had your father tossed away, and a lot more like him, and I'll do the same with you if I feel so disposed. You understand?
If you had him tossed away, then why are you asking me? I don't remember. I was always told my father was dead.
What is wrong with this Bruce Banner? Isn't he supposed to be different from the Hulk in some way? At the moment, the Hulk acts more calmly than Bruce Banner does.
If you ever come within 1,000 yards of my daughter again, I'll put you away for the rest of your natural life.
Why? So Ross gives up and Banner's left at home where he's under police watch. But he gets a call from his dad, who has created some dogs with the same genetic mutation as Bruce's and has sent them after Betty out in her log cabin by the lake.
But an amazing strength, too. And now, finally unleashed, I can harvest it.
No, you'll do no such thing. I will isolate it and treat it myself. I'll remove it and I'll kill it before it does any real harm.
Well, I bet you and your Betty would love to destroy it. But would you really destroy part of yourself?
Well, why wouldn't he? Save this bullshit for when he's been the Hulk for longer than 2 days. But before Banner can get out the door to save Betty, textbook arsehole shows up and starts beating the shit out of Banner. But the Hulk is having none of it and counterattacks. Did you see the way he can move that sofa?
With powers like these, I could do reasonably well running a moving service. Want me to move that sofa out to the van for you, madam? No problem at all for the incredible sofa-moving Hulk.
And look, he's so massive even his super stretcho socks couldn't hold him. So the Hulk makes it over to Betty's just in time for another boring and uncreative moment in which we see how tortured the Hulk is. I'm just going to start putting a counter on these now. Fuck. But the Hulk dogs are here and it's time for our first big fight scene. Wow, the Hulk fighting 3 vicious, bloodthirsty Hulk dogs in a battle to the death. It's amazing how something that sounds so lame can turn out to be even lamer. And also the dogs seem to turn into green puffs of smoke when they die. No idea why. After the fight, the Hulk goes to look at his reflection in the water. Oh, and now he's crying. We get it! Being the Hulk sucks! I know I want to see the complexity of the character, but the Hulk hasn't actually done anything bad yet. So far, being the Hulk looks pretty useful. Either make these scenes interesting or go smash something! Anyway, you got bigger problems on your hands, Banner, like being Christian Bale's less handsome clone. So Banner changes back, apparently it will, and heads back over to the car. That's just plain exposure right there. So the two of them go inside the cabin.
Oh my god. It must be the nanomeds. It must be the gamma exposure.
No! Do you think? I thought this whole Hulk thing was just happening at the same time by coincidence. I know, let's talk more about how shit it is being the Hulk.
It was like a dream.
About what?
Rage. Power. He wanted me to change. She wanted me to change into that mindless Hulk.
Fuck man, show, don't tell! Mindless Hulk? You looked pretty in control just then. But Betty doesn't feel safe with the Hulk around, so gives her dad a call. I'm just glad this means we're halfway through this snorefest of a movie.
How are you?
Okay, I guess.
I think that somehow your anger is triggering the nanomeds.
How could it? We designed him to respond to physical damage.
Emotional damage can manifest physically.
By the way, I betrayed you to my father and he's probably going to come around and shoot you in a minute, Juice. So the army pop over and give Banner their customary welcome.
It's okay, I got you. I'm sorry. Okay. Bruce.
And here's where we get our worst bit of editing in the entire movie. Oh God, my eyes! God damn it, movie, that was the worst bit of editing I've ever seen. What? It's not bad, is it? So they get Bruce safely into an underground base, but they still let him go walkies with Betty. God knows why when they're terrified of him. And they paid a visit to Bruce's old house. I do so love seeing the same flashbacks over and over again. Anyway, Banner's dad back home has been doing a few experiments of his own and zaps himself with radiation, giving him the power to merge with other objects. Terminator 2, anybody? So back at the base, Stereotype Jackass is back and he's trying to get Bruce to Hulk out because he wants a piece of that green DNA.
I can carve off a piece of the real you, analyze it, patent it, make a fortune.
He knocks Banner out and sticks him in a tank, hoping to drill into his head when he hulks out and pumps him with adrenaline. And Bruce so kindly gives us the chance to see the same flashbacks once again. And if you haven't worked out what actually happened yet, then you'd make a worse scientist than Banner.
I remember that day. It was as if...
We see that Bruce's dad actually killed his mother when he was a kid, as we see her run out of the room, pretty spry and not bloody for a woman who's been stabbed through the heart, and falling down dead in the garden. And this memory makes Bruce mad! Asshole activates the drill, but it fails to penetrate. Penetrate. And the Hulk has the most epic hissy fit of all time.
Why does no one remember this movie?
They catch him in liquid cement, but it doesn't seem to be holding.
I break shit just by tensing my muscles.
The Hulk breaks out the base and makes his way across the desert. Oh yeah, the Hulk is super running now! Do a jump! For the love of God, please tell me he does a jump! Fucking yeah! The Hulk is more awesome than Iron Man, never forget it! Oh great, time for some more wallowing, just what I was craving. Where's that counter again? Oh yeah, forgot the tank scene. Look at those numbers go up! But those puny humans still think they can contain the Hulk.
You're beginning to test my patience.
So the Hulk runs off, apparently not having killed any of the soldiers. Look, this guy even survived having the tank thrown with him in it about 2 miles. Fucking as if. But after some more wallowing, it looks like they just can't take a hint. Okay, dude, you just signed your own death warrant. When will people learn?
Nobody fucks with the Hulk.
Yeah, keep firing your machine guns at him, because we haven't seen any evidence so far to suggest that that's not going to work on this guy. The Hulk makes it to San Francisco and now they're sending jets after him. They honestly have no idea. Suddenly one jet can't pull up and it looks like it's going to crash, but the Hulk intervenes. But the jet flies him up into the atmosphere.
You know, I did save your life like 5 seconds ago. Is this how you thank a guy for that shit?
The Hulk falls in the sea and next thing he's coming out of the sewers.
Oh, should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque, right guys? Why did no one laugh?
The army turn up and surround the Hulk.
You know, I think this is the street where they filmed That's So Raven.
Betty turns up and the Hulk goes back to boring Banner. The army then take him to a secure location, but his dad has handed himself into the army in exchange for a visit to see his son. And here's where we get what is actually a really nice, intelligent, emotional, brutal, and thoughtful scene with the father and son, now both monsters, debating ethics and their place in the universe, as well as some wallowing that I'm not even going to add to the counter because damn it, this is a good scene. A really good scene. Despite the editing, it's actually thoroughly enjoyable. It's at this point in the movie that I begin to think that I'm actually watching a well-made adult Hulk movie. The main problem is that this is a kids movie for 10-year-olds and the like, and no 10-year-old worth his salt is listening to this shit. So I'm just going to show you what an average 10-year-old is doing at this point.
My cells can transform too, absorb enormous amounts of energy. But unlike you, they're unstable. Son, I need your strength. I gave you life. Now you must give it back to me. Only a million times more radiant, more powerful. Stop! Stop! What? Stop! What? Think of all those men out there in their uniforms, barking and smoke.
Mom, I was playing that! I hate you forever! But Daddy Banner flies into a rage and bites into an electricity cord, absorbing all the electrical energy. And here's where my childhood memory of watching the film gets a little hazy. Being a toddler's not unlike one really long massive booze binge in terms of reaction to external stimuli and behaviour and recollection of it afterwards. And what little I remember of this part of the film, it was like a really long massive drugs trip of annoyance and confusion. But I'm sure as an adult I'll actually be able to understand it so much more, and therefore it will be a much more enjoyable film. So let's have a look at that point.
Move in and assault the target. Move in!
Nope. I still have honestly no idea what just happened. So I'm guessing that Daddy Banner teleported Bruce through lightning to a lake? I've honestly lost all energy at this point, so I'm just going to make this bit quick. Basically, Daddy Banner wants to absorb Bruce's Hulk energy, and so after a pretty standard fight scene and some more flashbacks, Bruce gives him all his energy, causing Daddy Banner to turn into a massive bubble that the army promptly nukes. Thank fuck for that. Cut to 1 year later, and Colonel Thunderbolt Ross, orchestrated one of the largest military disgracing failures of the 21st century, phones up his daughter to say he's sorry.
If you were alive, I'm the last person I would want him to come to, because as much as I miss him, I loved him.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Betty. I am so sorry.
I know you are.
But what am I? Then we cut to a campsite in the rainforest where Banner's now working as a doctor in a camp and is now using his uncontrollable powers of destruction against soldiers trying to steal the camp's medical supplies. Well, that sounds like a good idea. And I'm guessing that gecko is his sidekick? Oh, I really don't care anymore. End of movie. There. It's over. Over 2 friggin' hours long. You don't know what it's been like. I'm nearly sober. Overall, I can't say that I hated Hulk. As awful as the first half may be, and god damn it, it is bad, I did find myself really enjoying the second half. It had good Hulk action, intelligent enough conversations, some interesting quiet moments. The musical score is interesting with a kind of an African tribal feel to it, but it's irrelevant to the Hulk and really doesn't fit with the awesome destruction tone of half of the movie, or the moping unhappy tone of the other half. Problem is, for all the intelligent moments it has, it's still too bad to even make it as an adult film. The flashbacks are boring, the story is boring, performances are forgettable, and the Hulk is just too damn depressing without making it interesting for the viewers. I don't usually say this about films, but I'm genuinely quite sad that this was a bad movie, because it had some really nice points. There are a few other faults in this movie, but I'm saving them for next time's review. And if you thought that this Hulk movie was bad, the next one, well, it's not actually that much worse, but it's definitely a whole other type of bad. Now, I'm going to go drink something green in 180% proof. I'm nearing sober, and you won't like me when I'm sober. I'm the pop culture alcoholic, and I'm suffering from a media hangover. Join me next time when I'm going to be reviewing The Incredible Hulk, the 2008 one.